Five Nights at Freddy's 1 theories were kind of wild, okay? And I'm not just randomly reacting to Five Nights at Freddy's. I love Five Nights at Freddy's. I grew up on Five Nights at Freddy's. I grew up watching Markiplier. I grew up watching 8-Bit Ryan. Who's the other big name? I forgot. But I grew up watching a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's. I would play it and I'd be terrified. And I think if I play it now at 18 years old of age, if I played it now, I still would be terrified. I was mostly terrified of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And I didn't get past that. Because Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was pretty boring. That wasn't scary. And Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was terrifying. To the point where I wouldn't even bother clicking on it. But yeah, I don't know. Horror games I can't really do. Five Nights at Freddy's isn't like that scary, but I'm just terrified of any like horror. I cannot do horror. I'm a holy man. I despise horror. But I love Five Nights at Freddy's. So
alright guys, so welcome to
the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 theories. The Five Nights at Freddy's 1 theories were kind of wild. I cannot speak when I speak this fucking fast. I don't know what's wrong with me right now, but I am yapping my ass off. Let's get
my 100 video special, and I hope you enjoyed the long backstory of Five Nights at Freddy's. I advise you to get some food and drinks for this one. So before I can give any information regarding Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, the viewer must note 2 very important history lessons. The first is that World War II occurred between the years of 1939 and 1945.
Hey everyone. With the current state of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, it is extremely hard to theorize about the lore. To craft a good theory about what's going on, you need to play through a buggy.
There's a bazillion theories about Five Nights at Freddy's, which is why I love it so much, because so many different things could be true, and it's just great.
A poorly designed game, read the books, and make sure that anything you say doesn't contradict any information already previously established in the other games. So that's why I find the first game's theories to be probably the best in the entire franchise. The game gives you a simple setup with a quick explanation as to why these animatronics are haunted, and leaves the rest of it so open-ended that basically any theory you come up with could be completely correct. So I wanted to go back and look at some of the
bullshit, like, I'm Freddy. And it'd be true.
Early theories fans came up with for the first entry in the series. And it's just going to be the theories that were around during the first game's time. I'm not going to mention anything FNAF 2 onwards. I'm also going to start with the more well-known ones and go through the more obscure ones as the video progresses. So, let's begin with
Dream Theory. Maybe I did hear about this, but the names are always different.
A pretty simple theory that can be applied to literally any piece of fiction. There's not much to say about this theory. It simply states that this is all a dream. This one didn't really receive that much attention until the 4th game came out, but I thought I should mention it anyway, as it was one that was making the rounds when the game was released.
You're literally sleeping. Game Theory's theory.
Okay, you can't talk about old FNAF theories without talking about the biggest theory channel of them all, Game Theory. Matthew Pathew's first ever FNAF theory stated that the game was based on a real-life shooting that occurred in a Chuck E. Cheese. He ultimately came to this conclusion. You are playing as Mike Schmidt, a former employee who was fired for tampering with animatronics and having a foul odor. To get revenge on his former employees, he lured 5 kids into the back rooms of the pizzeria, killed them, and stuffed their bodies in the animatronics. However, he was seen on the pizzeria's security cams and was promptly arrested and sentenced to death for his crimes. The game you're playing as is actually his reoccurring nightmare, as he is tormented by both animatronics possessed by the kids he killed, and he's forced to use the security system that led to his own arrest. I do like this theory. It's a better version of the dream theory, and the real world's connection makes the game feel more grounded and creepy. One thing I must criticize though is his theory on Golden Freddy. In the video, he states that one of the kids Mike stuffed in a suit actually survived and became a key witness that allowed for his death penalty conviction. It doesn't really try to explain what or why there's a Golden Freddy suit, but other than that, it's a pretty good theory that, who knows, could be canon if you ignore the rest of the franchise.
Foxy's a good guy. I've heard this one so many fucking times. I think
this was a really popular theory for a while. Basically what was happening.
The theory was that he would come knock on your, or like try to like warn you that like someone's coming, I think. But he would end up accidentally scaring the fuck out of you and killing you.
Thing was that people were saying that since Foxy didn't have an in-your-face jump scare like the rest of the cast, he didn't kill you and was just checking up on you. The reason you died was because of a heart attack, kind of like Child's Play 3.
Gotta be fucking kidding me.
Not much to say about this one. It's a goofy one, but it doesn't really have any merit other than the fact that he just leans into your office.
Freddy is a girl. I've never heard this one.
The theory for this one goes that Freddy is possessed by a female spirit because he can be seen hiding in the women's restroom. His laugh is also a little girl's laugh, just slowed down a lot. Honestly, I think this one was true until they decided to retcon it later in the series.
Bonnie is a girl. I think that, was that not given?
This one is just a worse version of the last theory. This is all based off the fact that typically Bonnie is a girl name, so therefore Bonnie must be a girl. Not a very compelling theory, but I promise it gets better from here.
Bonnie's a guy. What if 87 suspects?
The mysterious bite of 87, an event that was mentioned so early in the franchise's life, and besides the box, it is the only thing in the series that we never got a proper answer to, and at this point we probably won't ever. As far as the first game, there were really only 3 suspects that people brought up when talking about it: Freddy, Foxy, and Golden Freddy. Let's look at the evidence. Starting with Freddy, the main evidence points for him being the culprit were as follows. He is the main character, and you can see a handprint over his right eye. As for Foxy, he has sharp teeth, and he is out of order for an unknown reason.
Wait. I never saw this. Holy shit. He did it. What the fuck? Okay, I need to stop cursing. I need to stop. Stop with the cussing. You never cussed. I never cussed before. I don't know why I'm cussing so much. There's a handprint on his face. He did it. It was him.
His right eye. As for Foxy, he has sharp teeth, and he is out of order for an unknown reason. And finally, for Golden Freddy. 1, he's just plain mysterious, and 2, you get his jump scare if you type in 1987 into the custom night mode. As to who I believe did it before FNAF 2's release, I always thought Foxy was the one. I don't know, it just always felt like that's what the game was implying, at least to me.
Did we ever get confirmation? I'm confused. Who actually did it? Oh, shit. Cupcake.
This theory states that the cupcake in your office is alive and watching you throughout the night. There's not really any evidence that supports this one though. There was a rumor that the cupcake occasionally blinks in your office, but I'm pretty sure those were all false. The cupcake does blink in FNAF 2, however, possibly as a nod to this theory. Okay, another silly one. This one states that the reason Chica specifically wants to kill you is because she believes that you stole her cupcake. But I don't even think you can pretend that this one's true, as she clearly has her own cupcake when you look through the camera, though she abandons it later on.
That would have been really good. Killer suspects.
So this one comes from the fact that the list of people we could blame for the killings at this point in the series is pretty low. It's literally only 2 people, Phone Guy and the player. I kinda touched on the player is the killer theory when I talked about MatPat's theory. Main evidence for that was the "it's me" messages that flash up occasionally. People saw this as Mike Schmidt's guilt haunting him. As for the Phone Guy, I think it really just came down to having no other suspects.
Phone Guy is inside Chica? What? I've never heard of this.
This is an interesting one. Some people used to say that you can see human teeth pointing out of Chica's mouth in a couple of the cam images. While really it's more likely just the endoskeleton, I could kind of see it.
That's definitely just the endoskeleton. Phone Guy is Golden Freddy. I doubt that.
So this one mainly just comes from the fact that the Night 4 phone call ends with a Golden Freddy jump scare sound, and the Night 5 phone call seems to come from an animatronic. I guess this theory is supposed to imply that Golden Freddy was the one talking to you the whole time? Yeah, I'll admit this one's not so great.
No, that is good. What?
Alright, so this is another popular one. People used to say that Golden Freddy resided in the one part of the restaurant we couldn't see, the kitchen. Speculation of this eventually led to the point where people were saying that if you typed in the code 1987 into the custom night menu, you would turn on and finally be able to see the kitchen cam. Of course this was untrue, and as a joke, Scott Cawthon would update the game to have a Golden Freddy jump scare if you put in the code. As for the theory itself, besides the fact that literally anything could be happening in that kitchen and we wouldn't know, this theory doesn't really have any other evidence to support it.
In there, bruh. What the? Where are these?
So this is a cool one that I actually didn't see a whole lot of people talking about. The gist is that you are destined to die in that pizzeria and you will eventually be stuffed in the Golden Freddy suit. The visions of Golden Freddy you see in the game are you from the future trying to tell yourself that it's me. Not a whole lot to go off other than that, but I always thought that it was a cool theory. It's like Insidious 2 when the astral version of Josh goes back in time to see his younger self.
I don't know about that one.
And finally, we come to our final theory.
Theories now. What have these theories came to?
This all comes from a video by an old FNAF YouTuber known as XXX Pro Class Gamer XXX. The video is a two-parter called Complete Backstory of Five Nights at Freddy's, and it aims to explain the story behind the game we were all playing. This video reads more like fan fiction than an actual theory though, but I'll give you a short summary. After World War II ended, a Nazi scientist named Abel Hines immigrated to the US and met a man named John Smith. Together, they built and operated a laboratory that performed a lot of inhumane experiments. Their main goal was to achieve immortality. And to do that, they needed to extract genes from children. Apparently, and I quote, genes can be extracted easier in a child than in an adult. So Abel used his Nazi engineering knowledge to build advanced animatronic robots that would lure kids towards the laboratory so they would kidnap them and use them for their experiments. Side note, it's crazy how elements of this would actually be used later in the games. You know, like how Afton would build robots to lure kids so he can experiment on them to achieve immortality. Anyway, the laboratory would eventually become the pizza place we know today, but Pro Class Gamer never finished his story. These videos were split up into two parts, and unfortunately we never got the end to that trilogy. It's a shame because I really wanted to know.
That's really the cool part. Like, you could start a theory, people would believe it, and just never like run up on it. I mean, continue it, I guess. And I don't know, it just could be all bullshit. Like, I feel like that just Nazis running, that's just bullshit. But people believe it, and he never finished it, and it's just a mystery now.
How the Jew detecting upgrades he gave Chica fit into the lore. I wish I was joking.
Before the experiments began, Abel used the second exoskeleton disguised as a large yellow duck/chicken with an orange beak to lure the children, but had made covert changes to its programming. The specific changes made on the exoskeleton was to clearly distinguish which child was Jewish.
Okay, look, I gotta call bullshit.
Yo!
I mean, I've sat here and listened to all your theories and all your stories, and I think it's just all bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyway,
definitely.
I think that will do it for today. You know, looking back at some of these theories, I don't think they were as good as I remembered. Maybe
No, I feel like this video just didn't have the best theories. I need to find a video that has like the better theories.